from industrial sources. Typically, you think industrial sources are going to be more of heavy metals, but really this area isn't heavy industrialized. So we have a pre-treatment program that we issue permits. Like if you were a manufacturer, we would issue a permit and tell you what you could and could not discharge. So we have a fairly good control over the industrial dischargers. The conventional pollutants, like I said, BOD, suspended solids, that's residential.
Okay.
The agricultural community doesn't really affect us treatment-wise, but because we both discharge to the same stream, that's where these new ammonia and phosphorus limits come in. Research is showing that a lot of phosphorus and a lot of ammonia is actually from agricultural going into the streams.
Okay.
And a lot of times our limits, what we can discharge, are based upon what the stream size is, how it's being used, what other people are discharging into it, a waste load allocation. So they basically, if you think of it as a pie, we get our little portion of the pie depending upon how big everybody else's portion is. So agricultural practices does affect us because we both share the stream where we discharge.
Okay, thank you. But I want to know, if the water treatment plants in Urbana and Standard District can capture most of the pollutants, including bacteria, different chemicals, and heavy metals?
Mostly, for bacteria, fecal coliform is the one that we use as an indicator organism for how we're doing. We disinfect. We add a concentrated bleach solution, sodium hypochlorite, and we don't really capture them, we kill them. We don't sterilize the water, but we do reduce the concentration of human pathogens, the fecal coliform or E. coli. So we, during certain seasons of the year, will actually disinfect the wastewater. The heavy metals goes back to the pre-treatment program where we try to control it at the dischargers so that we're not faced with doing a lot of treatment here. Our wastewater treatment process is biologically based. We don't add a lot of chemicals to accomplish cleaning the water except for bleach to disinfect. So we basically have the industries do that at their place and not send it to us. So we don't selectively treat for heavy metals, but it's a byproduct of our normal treatment, and that ends up in the biosolids.
Okay, that's good. What about if some pollutants are there and unable to be captured or killed by the water treatment plants, can they possibly have a negative effect on human health and local wildlife?
Yes. The big one that's coming out now that's been talked about probably the last 3 or 4 years are the pharmaceuticals. We don't selectively treat for pharmaceutical removal, and they're coming in at a pretty low level. And it's things that you don't even think about. Caffeine. You drink caffeine, yes, it affects your body, but it also passes through in your urine. It comes into the plant. We don't really treat for that. And so then the caffeine passes through the treatment plant into the stream and can affect the lower life forms within the stream.
Yeah.
I mean, they're doing more and more research on that as far as what is actually coming into the treatment plant, how much is removed incidentally, how much is passing through, and then trying to do toxicological studies. What's the level of concern? If it's very species specific too.
Yeah, so it also includes estrogen from birth control pills and different medicines.
Right.
They
the
probably
feminization of fish, how
Yeah.
fish are all turning to female. There's a lot of questions still out there. What I've read so far is that pharmaceutical, some of it is, I'm not going to take the rest of these pills. So they throw it down flush it down the toilet, and it ends up here. But they're starting to think that at least half of what's coming in here is from medicine you take into your body. You metabolize it. You don't use all of it within your own body. You excrete it out. And so it's not like somebody's dumping it on us.
Oh yeah.
It's coming through in the normal body waste. So it's not like, well, if the hospitals would do something different, it'd be taken care of. It's the aspirin you take for the headache, and you eliminate that, and that comes to us, and
oh yeah,
goes on through.
Yeah, I see. That's kind of hard to control, right?
Yeah, they're concentrating on pharmaceutical. Like if you're not going to use a prescription or it didn't work for you, you can take it back to the pharmacy. Drop-off sites. So even if you capture a portion of that, unused material, unused chemicals or pills, you're still only going to affect a certain portion of what's coming into the treatment plants.
Yeah. Also, there are so many variety of chemicals and medicine. It's kind of hard to determine all of them and capture them.
Yeah, and things that we don't think of caffeine as medicine. I mean, it's in everything.
Just so
Chocolate,
many different types.
Pop.
Yeah.
So it's not even medicine. But caffeine's one of the things they're looking at that could be a problem.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, but do you think people's lifestyle can possibly have an impact on it? Like if people probably could do something, like make a personal choice and make a difference?
I think so. We all have habits that. Well, here's an easy example of a life choice. Fats, oil, and grease. So you fry up a pound of bacon to make your bacon lettuce and tomato sandwich.
Yeah.
And now you got a pan full of grease. You can pour it down the sink with a bunch of hot water.
Yeah.
Or you can take that, a can that you empty, pour it in, put some paper towel on top of it, and then put it in the trash.
Yeah.
Now, grease causes two problems for us. One is it coats the inside of the pipes. And so as the coating becomes more and more, the pipe diameter shrinks, and you get blockages in the collection system, which could cause sewers to back up in people's houses or to overflow in the street. Then the second thing is the grease that does get into the plant. It's a little difficult for the bacteria to remove. It just takes a little longer for them to do.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a lot of programs out there to help people realize that grease that you're pouring down the drain really can affect a lot of things. One is it can clog up your own drains and cause your own sewers to back up, and then you have to call the plumber. So you're actually causing your own problems.
Yeah.
So that's a very easy thing to change. Don't pour that down the drain, and don't use drains and toilets for disposal of materials. Oh well, it's just a little bit of paint. I'll just flush it down the toilet.
Yeah.
That's not where it belongs.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but what about like detergent and bleach?
Bleach really isn't a problem for us because there's so much material in the wastewater that the bleach is basically neutralized before it gets here. Detergents, there's arguments about low phosphate detergents. Some states actually ban phosphates in detergents. That actually started, probably in the 80s where states started approaching that. And that did make a big difference in treatment plants. It did reduce the amount of phosphorus coming in and subsequently what's discharged.
Yeah, I look up online. They said there's some eco-friendly products, like eco-friendly detergents and deodorant. Do you think, purchasing those stuff can really make it better? They just had most of their ingredients come from organic ingredients.
it's substituted for, because aluminum is an ingredient in deodorants.
Yeah.
Aluminum really isn't considered a heavy metal
Mhm.
as far as water quality standards.
Mhm.
So it's like, well, aluminum really isn't one of those toxic metals, so
Mhm.
it doesn't really make that much of a difference to try to reduce that. But there are things that we use in our own homes that we could probably do better.
Yeah, and including recycle the batteries. If we dump the batteries somewhere, like can they possibly affect the like the watershed?
Well, usually if you're gonna, your choice on a battery is you either throw it in the trash.
Yeah.
Which, yes, I mean overall it could affect the water system if you think about what happens at landfills and
Yes.
leachate that's collected.
Mhm.
Treatment plants can accept leachate from landfills, so whatever is going in the landfill could become in the leachate. Leachate gets transferred to the wastewater treatment plant. It's just kind of moving the problem around instead of if you do recycle, then you're actually taking care of the problem.
Yeah. So the better way is to collect the used batteries and put them somewhere to recycle them.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Yeah, that's all the question I need.
Okay. Do you want